Well, for about 90% of the game, when we had guys at normal positions, we did an outstanding job. We were a few times in the game, we just allowed the basketball to get to the rim too much without blocking the shot. Outside of that, I can't find too much fault with our performance tonight. I experienced it in the pros, and you see it happen quite often. A team plays a game a night with one night removed, and then they have to travel west to east. It takes a lot out of you. They played a game of one against Central Michigan. Then they had to fly in here and practice. They had to go west to east. You don't have your legs, and they're a much better basketball team than that. We just shot the ball well and played well, but they're a much better basketball team than that.
As a coach, when you look at the film on this, what do you get out of a game like this?
You get a lot out of it. We did a very good job of moving the basketball to get open shots. We did a very good job of hitting the offensive glass. We're a good basketball team. I was very impressed with the way we went into a very hostile environment. We're very disappointed we came away with a loss because we made mental mistakes down the stretch, but physically and emotionally we were ready to go into that place and get a W, and we didn't, and we were disappointed in that. But you get a lot out of things.
Donovan had a really nice line. Just thoughts on Donovan before he played.
Yeah, and I think Ray Spalding for the minutes played. He plays 14 minutes, has 7 rebounds, 7 deflections, 2 blocks. He did a very good job as well.
Is this or can this be maybe one of the better offensive teams that you've had in the last couple of years?
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Obviously, 250 seniors stopped us from having a rebuilding year. We're going to be a predominantly man-to-man team on the defensive end. There's just a lot to teach. Like Damian, one thing we've worked on very hard with him from day one is don't settle for a jump shot, drive more, get to the line, pull up, pass more. And he's done a good job with that, and it sets up his perimeter game because he is driving more and getting to the line more.
Coach, what does it mean that Quentin Snyder had maybe an off game up in East Lansing and came back and was very aggressive early in the game? Is that something that you want to see him stay aggressive?
What do you mean an off game?
Well, he kind of shied away from in the second half of the Michigan State game, but it seemed like tonight he came out and looked for his offense, or he looked for his shot to be aggressive and go into the basket.
Well, I think of what I told him tonight as he's getting ready to go out for the starting lineup. I said, if you miss a shot, don't stop shooting. That was my message to him as he's walking out for the starting lineup. Because he's really worked hard on his shot, and if he misses 1 or 2, he tries to drive when he's wide open, and you can't do that. I guarantee you Damian won't do that. So I don't think he had an off game, but I think you're right in terms of he's concerned about it, and I keep telling him all the time, stop counting your shots. Shoot when you're open, pass when you're guarded, paint touch. So I think he did that tonight, and he even pulled up one time where he didn't have it and shot it.
Damian had a season at 24 points. Just some thoughts about what he's doing for this team. Besides scoring, he seems to really elevate.
That will not be his season high, I can guarantee you that.
What is he doing for the other guys? It really seems like he's...
I just think both of those guys are very mature men. They physically know the game. It's the first time they're not going into places where they're getting a guaranteed check and going on to the next team to play. They're on a different stage, and I think they're really enjoying it.
Up to, I think it's like 199 minutes.
Say it again, I'm sorry.
He has 199 minutes this year, 7 turnovers so far, which is a pretty good rate. What do you attribute him being?
He's a really good basketball player. If I had a Christmas wish, I wish that Louisville would have more talented players like Ray Spalding and Quentin Snyder. Because it's the old days. Remember, Louisville lived off of players from this area. So, the more we can get players like that, both of these guys are outstanding. Q's a terrific basketball player. And he's going to be a 4-year guard for us. And he knows how to play. He's improved his shot. He's a tough kid. And Ray's going to be terrific someday.
There was a couple moments during the game today where Quentin was kind of barking out things and getting guys in the right places. How much has he grown maybe in that role since maybe this time last year?
I think he's grown. I'm glad you noticed that, because he's a smart basketball player. He really understands the game, really has knowledge of the game, has a good floater in the lane, willing to pass. So, the more he steps up and is a leader like that, the more next year he's got to be the leader on the team.
Is there more ball movement and passing this year and less dribbling than there was last year?
Without question. That's been the point of emphasis from day one. We're trying to make, before we get into anything, 4 passes in the span of 5 seconds, so we can go downhill. And that's why I think it's pleasing to all of us what you're seeing out there. Where before we dribble, held, and we had taken away from anybody. But this team is we've set a pattern of it. The ball's going to be moved, and we're going to make the defense move so we can go downhill, and that's why we're having so much success. And then on top of it, we're making shots.
Is it just this group that's kind of behind that, or have you?
This group we've always emphasized it, but sometimes guys, watch too much NBA TV.
What film?
I wish they'd watch San Antonio more.
What film are you showing them, pro or college, to emphasize that ball?
We're not. We're just working on it each day. Sometimes we'll say, let's make 4 passes in 5 seconds. Let's make 5 passes. Let's get 2 reversals before we even think about it. And, we still have 21, 22 seconds on the clock, and we've made 4 or 5 passes. It's fun to see. It's fun to see, watch that. And, sometimes you can say, well, the competition, but we did it against Michigan State. And believe me, they're a very good basketball team. They may be number 1 this week. I'm not sure, but they may be.
Coach, you hit 13 to 14 shots. You look like you're playing offense with a lot of confidence. Just talk about that. Is that something you could pick up on coming into this game, that you were that confident offensively?
We left that locker room really disappointed. I think there are a lot of people saying, hey, great effort. And, great effort to us is something that we understand that's a given. You give great effort. But we were very disappointed we didn't come away with a victory. And there's only one way to solve it, and is you got to come out and perform great against Grand Canyon. And I told the guys, I said, look, they're traveling west to east. And if we get after it early on, it's tough for guys to respond from that.
Coach, how special is that? Because you're 7 games in, and the effort level at the beginning of every game so far this year has been on point, regardless of whether it's Michigan State, Grand Canyon, whoever. How special is that?
I think you guys see it in with young people today. I think the most difficult thing to instill is not ball movement, not defense. The most difficult thing to instill is humility in people. And this is a team with very little ego. So they just listen and they move it and they have fun. This is like I've said from day one, and I kept telling them how remarkable they are as young men. This is something I probably won't experience again. I've experienced it once in '87, and I'm experiencing it now, where you have this humble demeanor, and it's wonderful to see. Could have it next year as well with what we have coming in and coming back, but you have 2 fifth-year seniors that come in having very good careers, but they're extremely humble as well. And it's fun to be around that. Every single day you drive to work with a smile on your face because you know what you're coaching. And that's a lot of fun to see.
Conversations after St. Louis and then Michigan State, the players were talking a lot about communicating on defense. In practice, is there something specific you can do?
One of the things, Jeff, that's difficult, we'll go out there because we're in front of our bench, and I tell the guys, all we do is watch hours and hours and hours of film. So we know what's coming, and you're right in front of us defensively. So we can tell you what's going to happen, but once you go down the other end, especially on the road, you don't have our voices anymore. It's up to you to figure out what they're running and for you to talk. And that's what happened against Michigan State. We had a lot of problems down the stretch because we could sort of choreograph with our voices what's going to happen. We can't do it on the road in the second half, so that's where the more they do it, the better we'll be in the second half.
What are your points of emphasis for the next couple of weeks when you'll have some more practice time? You don't have a game for a week now. What kinds of things?
Well, you'll see Eastern Michigan's next a week. So we're going to concentrate on recruiting the next 2 days. Damian Lee's got a bruised foot. We got some guys banged up right now, so these 2 days are godsend. But Eastern Michigan, it plays the same type of zone that Syracuse plays, and it's really, really a good zone. And you got to do a great job with it. He was the assistant under Jim, so you got to do a good job with it to get good shots, and that'll be great for us. But we need some rest right now. We need to get our bodies healthy, and we will. But we'll concentrate a little bit next 48 hours on recruiting, and then get back to work.
You think Deng will be available for next weekend, or?
Oh yeah, no, he's fine. I gave him off yesterday, and we'll give him off 2 days now. He's just got a bruised heel, and it's affecting the other parts of his body, but he'll be fine with these 2 days rest. And then some of the other guys are banged up a little bit, so we'll get healthy and get back. And Deng's making the right progress. He should be a few more days before he gets on the treadmill running, and probably another 2 weeks before he's playing.
Just real quick about Mango, his offense he seems a lot more comfortable in the offense right now, shooting above about 55% right now. How has his comfort level and just development on the offensive end helped the team as a whole?
Well, the one thing missing from Mango's game that Gorky had that he doesn't have is footwork. You know, and his footwork sometimes leads to bad passing. He really worked this summer on his footwork. That catching the ball at the elbow and making good offensive moves and reversing, he's gotten very good at that. The last thing for him now is his passing. He's got to improve his passing. Jalen and Mango have to improve that. But he has come a long way with his footwork. He's getting better and better. Okay, buddy.
Thanks.